I'm going to now pour out some knowledge into you and give you skills on how to properly pre-qualify a seller when you get an appointment, where they're picking up the phone and prospecting them for an expired, a for sale by owner, you're making it just listed, just sold call, and they finally say, after you get 100 no's making calls, they say, come out and meet me. What I used to do was just go shoot right out in 2 hours and go meet them without asking any questions. Both decision makers weren't there. I come to find out that the house that I'm comparing it to, theirs is definitely inferior to the ones that I'm comparing it to, because I didn't ask questions about the house. I didn't ask questions about why they're doing what they're doing, which is the most important one, is their motivation. And then also price. They're like at 600 and the closest comp is 480. So now we're already gonna have a problem with price. So asking these questions in a pointed order is a skill to have, and my conversion rate from appointments to listings taken skyrocketed when I started to learn how to do this. So it's 10 questions, and so you're on the phone, and somebody says, you know what, Dan, yes, come out and meet me, and I'm ready to see you. I'm gonna list a house. Now you've already made the expired call, you've gone through your questions and asked them, and they're like, yes, we're ready to go. First question is awesome. In preparation for our time together tomorrow at 2, I just wanna ask a few quick questions to make sure that when we do meet tomorrow at 2, I can just really serve you best and maximize our time together. Would that be okay? They're gonna generally say yes. Okay. So just to reiterate, you're looking to sell the property because they'll give you now their motivation on why they're doing it. We're moving to Miami, we're retiring, and we have a condo down there. Awesome. My next 4 words out of my mouth whenever somebody tells me why they're doing what they're doing is tell me about that. Tell me about that. So you're retiring, what's bringing you to Miami? You said you have a condo there. Have you owned the condo a while? Have you lived there before? Do you have family there? Now you're building rapport with them. And this is the key as to why they're doing it. Can you sell the property? Of course you can. But linking up and building rapport as to why they're doing what they're doing will pay you dividends so many times, because you're gonna loop it in at least 3 or 4 times during this pre-qual. So I'm moving to Miami, we're getting a condo. Great, tell me about that. What else is bringing you down there? Well, we have family down there. Oh wow, okay, tell me about that. Who's living down there? And keep asking that, tell me about that. Is there anything else bringing you there? Is there anything else that you want to share with me? Until they say no, that's it. Okay, perfect. Next question. So in a perfect world, how soon are you looking to make the transition happen? Well, really, as soon as possible, you'll get a lot. 6 months ago, because I've been on the market 6 months and the property didn't sell. Okay, understand that. So if a buyer, when we go to market and a buyer comes to me and says, we'd like to close this in 60 days, 75 days, sounds like that time frame would work well for you, right? Yeah, now what did I just do there? I assumptively closed them. When we go to market, they're already listing with me. In my brain, and now I've already put it in their brain, you're already listing with me. So when we go to market and a buyer comes to me and says, so now already we're building rapport as to when we get to the end, there's a question that I'm gonna ask them that they're gonna most likely say yes, because I built that brick up of assumptively closing. It's very powerful, assumptive closes. So they say, yeah, I mean, as soon as possible. Okay, great. So when a buyer comes to me and says, I'd like to close in 60, 75 days, sounds like that time frame would work well for you. Yeah, that'd be great. Awesome. Now what you're gonna do is get into the decision makers. Great, so I can hear in your voice, it sounds like you're very excited about making this move. And I ask, is there anybody else involved in making the decision? Maybe somebody else on title. Yeah, my spouse. Awesome, what's your spouse's name? Karen. Great, and let me ask you, is Karen as excited as you about making the move? Well, yeah, it's really her idea. It's her parents that are down in Florida that we bought the condo for. Gotcha. And obviously Karen would be at our meeting when we meet tomorrow, right? Make it as if she's already gonna be there. Because sometimes they'll be like, no, I'm the decision maker. She doesn't need to be there. It's just gonna be me. Now, can we get a legal listing agreement with just one person there? No. Absolutely not. So what you'll do is circle back. Okay, well, I really need to have both decision makers there. Obviously, we want to keep everybody together as a team, keep the discussion with everybody on board. So what would be a better time when Karen can actually be at the meeting? I don't know, Wednesday at 5. Okay, great. So let's change it to Wednesday at 5. So recircle back and make sure that if they say no, I'm the decision maker, she has to be there or he has to be there. So we're going to make sure that they're both there, okay? And then once you get agreement on that, now we're going to get into the house, okay? So listen, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, nobody knows your home as well as you do. So share with me any changes or modifications that you've done to the inside of the home or outside that you think could affect its value in some way. Now they're going to give you every single thing that they've done to that home. Why? Because they love that house. So they're going to tell you about the bathrooms, hardwood floors, the kitchens. Now this will also tell you what personality type they are and how they answer the question. If they're an amiable, they're going to say, well, you know, I painted the kitchen white and we got like shaker cabinets. Do you think shaker cabinets are good for the kitchen? Asking me my opinion of it. Because what is an amiable always wants to make sure you're okay first before they are. It's an amiable. If they're an expressive, they're gonna start to just tell you everything and anything. Oh my God, we went to Home Depot and we bought these cabinets. We love these cabinets. The salesman's name was Joe and he showed us everything about the cabinet. Then we went into the bathroom and we got this bidet, the toilet, everything they're gonna tell you. That is an expressive. An analytical is gonna tell you, well, the kitchen's 15 by 15. It's $17 a square foot for the flooring that we got in there, and that's an analytical. A driver will be along the lines of, this is what we spent on it, how much can you get for it? We spent 15 grand in the kitchen, what do you think the return is on that? Can you and how quickly can you? That's basically a driver. There's not a lot of fluff and conversation with it. Drivers are generally, can you do it, how quickly can you do it, and for how much? So you'll be able to tell their personality by that question. Share with me any changes or modifications that you've done to the inside of the home or outside that you feel could affect its value in some way. And then they'll tell you. Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking here online. It looks like you've really taken care of this property. Everything looks great. So what I'll do is make a note to the buyers and their agents, all of the potential upgrades and amenities you have in this home, okay? And they'll be like, okay. For me, drivers. Yeah. That's a great question, Linda. It's whatever personality you are. Because if you're a driver and an amiable or an expressive starts to like verbally vomit on you, you are like, can we just get to the point, please? But if you're an amiable or an expressive, you're gonna agree right along with them. Yeah, that's great. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you guys are gonna have a long conversation. Expressives are hard for me sometimes with listing presentations because they start talking and I'll link up with them and now the appointment's taking 30, 40, 50 minutes. It shouldn't do that. You're shaking your head, yes, because you probably had that too, right? I've had that myself and I've lost listings that way because you think you're building rapport, you're really not. If you're there longer than a half hour, you're gonna lose them if you don't have the signature. And I've learned that the hard way. So yeah, it's rapport. You're building rapport, obviously, but this prequal is building the rapport. So yeah, I've learned the hard way. So it's usually what you are. If you're an analytical, you want to be around other analyticals that you can talk, you're going to talk shop with them. So, but a great question. Yeah, so then they start to tell you about that. And again, you say, yep, you can see everything looks nice here. So I'll be sure to tell the buyers and their agents all the potential upgrades that you've done to the home. What did I just do there? I something 100%. I'll tell all the buyers and their agents all the potential upgrades you did because I've already listed the property. So that's number 2. Okay. Now we're going to get into price. Yeah, so I'm imagining, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, that you've probably done a little bit of homework in preparation for our time together. Maybe looked at Zillow or one of those websites. So share with me, do you have any idea at all, realistically, about what you're thinking of listing the home for at this time? Now you're going to get their idea on what they think of the property. And you haven't done any homework yet on price, so you don't know whether they're, it's a pie in the sky number or if they're actually in the realm of what the property is actually worth. So when they share with me, I say, great, I appreciate that. And that is my job. provided the opportunity, is to net you every penny possible with regards to the sale. And I promise you, I will be 100% candid, very straightforward with you regarding price and value of your property. Sound fair? They'll say yes. Great, because what we're gonna do together as a team, myself and you, we're gonna look at properties that are on the market right now and haven't sold. And we call those the unsolds. And then what we'll also do is look at properties that have closed in the last 3 to 6 months. Now, what I mean by that is what a buyer, a seller, and a bank appraiser, that is key, have all agreed to for price on these homes that have sold. Does that make sense? They're gonna say yes. Okay, I got it. Perfect. And then we'll discuss strategy, because pricing your property, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is gonna be a strategy in an attempt for us to get the most money we can out of those buyers. And we'll go over all the strategies you have at your disposal, because at the end of the day, I want you to be really comfortable and confident with the strategy we end up choosing for your home. Does that sound fair to you?
Yeah.
Perfect. Now you've gotten over the price, okay? Now I'm gonna be sending you out a package of some information in preparation for our time together tomorrow. What's the best email address for you? They'll share it. Perfect. Now, a lot of times I get a lot of kickback on, well, do you want email or should you do snail mail? Like you're gonna send out a big package in the mail. We used to do that, but the internet has completely eliminated that. You will have some baby boomers that you'll run into that will ask you for that. No, just send it to my house. I want to look at it. I don't use email. That's fine, but the overwhelming majority get their email. We're in, what is it now, 2024? Yeah. So that's important to me as far as contact. Try and get and the next question you could ask is this the best number for you, the number that I'm calling? And if they have another number, get that one too, okay? So, and then here's a good question to ask too, is I'm gonna be preparing for you what's called a net sheet. So you can see what all the proceeds will be to you in the end, when everything shakes out and we're at the closing table signing papers.
Assuming a sale.
Share with me, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do you have any mortgages or liens on the property, or is the property free and clear? Now they'll tell you whether, what they have. Look, if the property's worth $600 and they owe $580, $590, is that a listing that you might want to take? I don't know, because there's no room there for any kind of negotiation.
Can I jump in here for a second?
Absolutely.
A lot of times I found that people lie.
They do, no doubt.
And especially like estate issues, if your kids are selling the house and you're trying to get the listing,
Sure.
they don't know. So I've had situations where the parents took out a reverse mortgage and they didn't know.
Oh, you're saying you don't know as far as liens go and stuff?
Correct.
Yeah.
I'll give you my cards. If you want me to do a pre-report for you, they'll just let you know what liens and judgments are on that house. I can do that for you, okay?
Ah, interesting.
So this way you go in
Yeah.
knowing what you're going for.
Do any of you guys do
No other title company will do that I know of, okay?
That's important, Linda. Thank you.
Only because Aunt Linda tries to take care of her real.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Do you guys do estates? Do any of you guys do probates and estates or no? No?
You don't
Okay.
have the kids that say, Mom, I have to sell my father's house?
I had one.
Okay. You had one? Yeah. So if you start to get into probates, that's a great thing to have. I've closed some. It is a good lead source to have. Me personally, I like to have at least 5 to 6 lead sources. Expired, for sale by owner, probate, sphere of influence, past clients, and then vendor referrals for me. And then you can also use third-party referrals like a Fast Expert or one of those. Home Light, yeah. But they're starting to take huge rips now. Not 20, 25% anymore. They're 35, 40% now on those, on a $300,000 sale. So then you got to weigh, is it even worth it for me to take? Because now your broker's taking, if you're in a traditional brokerage, they're taking a huge rip on your commission too. So, yeah. All right. So great question though, Linda. I appreciate you bringing that up. Now we're going to get into agent selection, because you know that they're going to be talking to other agents because everybody else is prospecting them too. So this is an important question. So Now, you've already talked to them as let's say an expired, and you've gotten what happened, why the property didn't sell. So you probably have an idea of what the previous realtor did or didn't do that made them unhappy and now open to talking to you. So your question will be, now, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you share with me a little bit about what happened with your previous experience. So share with me, what is going to be important to you in terms of the next agent that you hire? What qualities are you looking for? Now, they're going to tell you, I want somebody local, I want an aggressive agent that's going to be working for me 24/7, knows the local market, is good on social media, all that stuff. And Linda's laughing because it's all the same stuff. None of this changes. None of the objections change. None of this changes. So look, they're going to verbally tell you everything that their previous realtor didn't do that they want from you. I'm going to summarize what they said. Okay, so Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you're going to be looking for somebody who's very aggressive. You want somebody who knows your local market, but also is going to be able to bring in buyers from 100% of that buyer pool out there. New York, 5 boroughs, Hudson County, all those different areas. And also somebody who's got that social proof that you're looking for. Is that right? Yes. Can I share with you the great news? What's that? I feel supremely confident that myself and my team, we fit that criteria that you're looking for. And at the end of our time together tomorrow, if you feel the same way, we can just get the paperwork out of the way, get you one step closer to that condo down in Miami and retiring. Now you've looped back in their motivation, telling them that you can do it. Again, bringing it all back together. They're going to be like, okay, great. So now in that package of information that I'm going to send out to you, there's going to be a link to my website, www.solidnewjersey.com. I encourage you to take a look at that. There's also going to be a link to some past client reviews, because I know you said social proof is very important. We do have a stellar 5-star reputation with over 45 reviews online from people just like you that we've had the pleasure of serving. Can you take a moment and look at that before we meet tomorrow at 2? And they'll say, yeah. Perfect. Now, what you've done is you're directing them to and I'm hoping everybody here at least has a Google business profile. And if you don't, open one. Yes, do one today. Because think about this. What's the first thing you do when you don't know something?
Google it.
What are you going to do when you want to find a place and you're going to you got to find a Best Buy in Connecticut? You're Googling it. So if somebody's cold calling you for a listing and they don't know who you are and you agree to the appointment, they hang up. What's the first thing they're doing? They're Googling you. They're going to look and see who you are. So give them that proof. And then whenever you close the transaction, ask them. Don't do it after you close. Ask them right as you're closing. 100%. Get that review. That is perfect. That is perfect. Because think about it. They're not, like, it's a sense of relief when they get done signing. But their biggest moment of like happiness and joy is exactly what, give me your name again. Anna Kay. Exactly what Anna Kay is saying. They're walking through like, this is going to be mine. I can't believe this. We're here. That's the perfect time to ask for the review. Perfect time. Okay, so yeah, great time to ask for a review. So you're directing them to your social proof. And then you're going to say, hey, can you take a look at that before we meet tomorrow at 2? They'll say yes. Perfect. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you seem like a straight shooter. So am I, which is probably why we ended up connecting today in the first place. When we do meet tomorrow at 2, and you feel very comfortable and super confident that I can help you sell this property, but more importantly, get you down to Miami in the time frame that you want, it sounds like you'd be open to the possibility of hiring me when we meet. Is that right? If they say anything other than, yeah, I'm open to it, we're going to have a discussion, because I'm not going to an appointment that they're not open to signing there. I am going there to sign that listing agreement. So I want to know that they are open to this. This isn't just like an exploratory meeting with me to give you what I think your house is worth. No, we're going there to get the damn thing signed. So ask that question. Now, usually they'll say, well, I kind of want to hear what you have to say. I understand that. I can appreciate that. I guess what I'm asking is are you open to the possibility of it? That's usually when they'll say yes. Okay. Now, what you've gotten is buy-in to them. Because, again, they have to sell it. And you'll know this because why? You know their motivation. They want to get down to Miami. They're trying to retire. Their job's taking them to Dallas. They're getting divorced. Maybe somebody passed in the family. These are all life, what we call life events. That's what you want to find. You don't want to find the seller that says, well, yeah, I mean, I would love to get 600 for it, and if I get 600 for it, I'll sell it. If I don't, you know, it's no big deal. We can just keep it. That's not a want. 100%. That's a want, not a need. I want people who need to sell. So getting that motivation in the beginning, that's why it's so important. So when you ask this question, usually they're going to give you a yes because you know in your head, you've already pre-qualified them to know they have to sell the property. So you're going to a bona fide, certified appointment, not an exploratory, let's just figure out what my house is worth and maybe I'll use you, maybe I won't. No. So you ask that question, they'll say yes. Perfect, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. I'm super excited to have my team serve you with getting this property sold. What I'd like to do now is ask, I know I've gone over a lot of questions. You've answered them and I really appreciate your time. Do you have any questions for me before we meet tomorrow at 2? Now you will probably get what's your commission, how long is your contract length, all of that stuff. And generally what I like to do is whatever that first, and it's just an objection. It's not a condition where they're not going to do it. It's an objection. And all an objection really is a question that they don't have answered yet. That's all it is. So they'll say, well, I want to know what's your commission. Hey, great question, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Commission's obviously negotiable here, and it would never be a reason that we don't do business together. So what we can do is when we meet tomorrow, that'll be the first thing we talk about because I'm sure we can come up with something that is going to benefit you and benefit us. Does that sound fair? Perfect. Well, what's your contract length? I'm not doing 6 months. Awesome. Totally agree with that. I get that all the time, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, because I run into people all the time, just like you, that were listed for 6 months. Realtor didn't do the job, and now you don't want to get locked in for another 6 months. Is that right? Yeah. Again, well, we can work into the contract this, and this is an easy one. I'll give you guys an objection right here. What we can do is this. We always want to show to the public that you're very serious about selling, okay? So you want to put out that 6-month listing. But on the back end, here's what I'll do for you. I'll write into that agreement that if after 90 days you're not happy with my service, you're free to tear up this contract and go your own way. But all I ask is that you give me 24 hours to rectify the situation. Does that sound like something you can work with? They will 100% of the time say yes. Have I ever had anybody tear up a contract with me and cancel the agreement? The answer is no. But what you're going to do is write that in there for them because, again, they got burned. Probably by a realtor that promised them the moon on a price, didn't know how to handle a price objection, didn't know how to actually present price to them, which I did in the previous event that I did. I went over the listing presentation. How to present price, giving them options, you not telling them what you think it's worth. They self-discover what the price is worth based on the comps that you give, actives and solds. They come up with the number. You don't. Because if you come up with the number and in 4 months it doesn't sell, who are they going after and saying, you told me this? They're going after you. So I don't ever do that. I give them options. Option A, option B. Which one do you think is going to serve you and your family best? 99.9% of the time they're going to choose option B, which is pricing it at market, even a little bit below, to create that bidding war, create that interest in the property. You get more than one offer, tons of showings, get you down to Miami in the time you want. Sound good? Awesome. So you're going to get those objections. You handle them. That'll be the first thing we talk about when we meet tomorrow at 2. Does that sound fair? Yeah, perfect. Let me just say thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. You've spent a good amount of time with me here. I really appreciate you giving me that time. I'm really looking forward to meeting you tomorrow at 2, serve you and your family, but getting you down to Miami. I'm going to give you a call tonight around 7 for 2 reasons. Number 1, to make sure you got the email that I sent to you with that package of info. And number 2, that our time tomorrow at 2 o'clock is still good. Does that sound fair? Yes. Perfect. Sounds like we have a bona fide certified appointment. You go on your way, you do your comps after that. But remember, now you have every single thing that you need to know to present yourself to them. They're motivated, they're ready, they're willing, they have to move. You have price, you have their house, what's going on with their house so you can comp it right, and all decision makers will be there. And again, here's a great question to ask that I didn't ask, and you can do it in the middle, is You know, I'm imagining this has been an option for you for a while now, and I just want to ask, because again, it's my purpose to serve you. Is it an option for you not to sell this house, but still make the move to Florida? Maybe rent this home out? It's a powerful question. Now, usually they're going to say no. No, we really need to take the proceeds from here to go to there. Sometimes they'll say, well, yeah. Okay, let's talk about that. So you're moving to Miami, and you know, you're saying that if you didn't, it's an option for you to keep it. What would be the scenario in that? Tell me how that would play out. Well, if we didn't get the number that we wanted, we can just keep it. Okay. Now you're going to dig into, have you ever been an absentee landlord? Have you ever been a landlord, period? Well, no, but we really want this number. Okay. Go over with them all the details that it means to be an absentee landlord from 3,000 miles away or however far they're going to be, what it entails, because Sean and I are both far landlords. You know what it takes to be a landlord from that far. We're only a state away. They're talking about Florida, which is 1,000 miles away. More often than not, they just haven't been educated on what it takes to be an absentee landlord. So dive into that, find out what that answer is. But usually when, at the end of the day, most of the time they're gonna be, you know, we really need to take the proceeds from here to go to here. We just wanna be done, cut ties with New Jersey, which most people do right now. They don't wanna be here. We just wanna get down there to Florida. Okay, perfect. But it's an important question to ask because it'll let you know their motivation if you don't get them the price that they want. They can say, well, we're just gonna keep it. You wanna know that up front. And dive into that. Again, peel. Tell me about that. It's a great 4 words. I use that all the time. It's an option for you to keep it. Tell me about that. Peel. How come? Let's go over that scenario. You keeping this home. Because you can potentially net, I don't know, you only owe, the property's worth 400, you only owe 2. You could be walking away with 200. Is that not enough for you to go to Miami or Florida or wherever they're going? Keep peeling. It's a great 4 words. Tell me about that. Tell me about that. All right, so those are basically, that's a prequal. That is a 10 or 11 question prequal. I didn't even need my notes today too, which is good. That's a 10 and 11 page prequal on getting every single question possible that you would need to get a bona fide certified appointment.